This person asked her, do you find that people are going back and trying to simplify some of those file plans and some of those retention schedules and, kind of this whole big buckets argument? Do you find people doing that or just wishing they could do that?
I mean, the short answer is if they're not, they're making a mistake.
Yeah, definitely. Probably a lot of wishing there, I would say, definitely. Yeah. But yeah, the bigger bucket, just making your life a whole lot easier moving forward.
Yep. Yeah, and Jay, I was thinking in particular when you were talking about event-based retention schedules and disposition schedules are so problematic because sometimes those dates are easy to identify and automate,
right?
And sometimes they're, it seems like nothing from a manual perspective to put that requirement in, but from an automation perspective, it becomes very problematic if that's not an easily identifiable field that you can incorporate.
One of the keys that we've identified in this specific conversation of how do I modernize my file plan is looking at the requirement in the GRS or whatever your guiding record schedule is and trying to identify what makes sense for us. And a great example of what I mean by that is there is in the general record schedule for the federal government many requirements, I guess there are many requirements that say when no longer relevant to the business. And this is my favorite requirement because you can't quantify that. However, what we found is that most records managers and even NARA are accepting of the identification of something. And in the case that we most often find is if the rule is 7 years or no longer relevant to the business or something like that, cutting the 7 in half seems to be a pretty common accepted term. And so the question, going back to the question of, are they looking at how to modernize the record schedule, the file plan? It's absolutely required in order to be able to do this successfully.